Man, it's a windy day here in South Georgia. Pretty cool this morning. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't digging it too much. I come across the pond dam a little bit before daylight. It's all nice and quiet. As soon as I climbed up in this tree, the beaver had to start slapping his tail. Don't get me started on beavers. That's kind of like his way of, I think, flipping me the bird, to be honest. And then shortly after daylight, an otter come up behind me here, behind the pond dam. I guess he was headed up to the pond. And then this big old fox squirrel that looked like it was on steroids. It looked like something out of Madagascar cartoons or something. I mean, I don't know why they got to get that big, and I don't think you can eat them. I really don't, because they look like a horse. It come up here and it sat on a limb looking at me, and we kind of eyeballed each other. And he's been back up in here all morning, just jacking around. And he's just, like I said, he's as big as a damn horse. You know, I hear crunch, crunch, crunch. So what's the point of the video today? Well, last year in this stand, now you gotta understand, every September we put 20 bow stands out around the farm. I do. And they strap and hang to the side of a tree. And then they stay till the end of January. That's when our season goes out. And so I inspect them every September, inspect them at the end of January, and I look for anything that might be wrong with them. The big critical part with what they call, hang on. Crap, there's a deer, hold on. Probably going down to the creek to get a drink. There goes another one. That's a little fun. Look, there's a baby. Look at a little baby. Two mamas and a baby. I'm being chased by a buck. Here comes another one. Yeah, it's a little buck, I told you. Look at him. Spike. Hi, fella. That deer blew because it could smell me. There's that little baby. Little baby. And that's why you get your butt out of bed. Crawl up here for a South Georgia boy and freeze to death in the morning. Have a beaver slap his tail at you and flip you the bird. Get attacked by a monster fox squirrel that looks like a horse. So you can have junk like that, man. I mean, that's the junk. I mean, just hanging out with a bunch of deer. They're running around, little bebes. Anyway, the point of the video is, last year when we inspect all these stands, you know, we do it, like I said, in September, we do it in January, and I put them up. That's on me. It is. That's my job. And there's two cables, and I'm going to show you that these cables run down, and they're metal cables. And the ones that used to be on these stands were wrapped in like a black plastic. So you can't see inside. But on the ends, you can see the ends, and I always inspect them. And if there's any rust or anything that just looks a little jacked up, I just order new ones, put them on, back in business. Now, I always wore a safety harness. I have ever since I started boat hunting. But I didn't use a rope to hook it to when you go up and down. And when the boys came along, we started using that rope because most accidents happen ascending and descending. Or you're goofy like me and you get up here jacking around, you fall out, which I've never done that, but I've come real close to it, especially when I get excited, you know, seeing a bunch of deer. And so last year, the youngest boy, he came over here and hunted in the same tree. We kind of use the same tree every year. I'm not real big on real firm trees. I like these trees that wiggle. For me, I just enjoy it more. I feel more like I'm really part of the tree. It's not, you know, like this tree behind me is moving right now. I just like a smaller tree. So last year he comes up here, he gets in this, you know, one of our hang-on stands. It may not be the same one. And the bottom falls out. The cables broke. Both cables broke on both sides. And the safety harness saved him. It's a 20-foot drop. It could have killed him, but it probably would have delayed his progress in some direction. That was hard for me. I took that very, very personal because I'm the safety guy, you know. But here's the reality. And this is where, when I climbed up here this morning, you know, all the cables got replaced. I figured out what went wrong. It's inside there that I couldn't see that had started to rust. And I replaced all the cables, and brand new ones last year. But when I climbed up here this morning, that's the first thing that hit me, was it's the same tree. And I think about that kid. So he'd have been 17 at the time, you know, him freaking snap. And man, my dad, you know, checked all this out and it's supposed to be good. He knew it wasn't on me. I couldn't see inside that. So what does that video have to do with trauma? I'll tell you what it has to do with trauma. And it's a word that we don't use a lot. And I don't think I've ever said the word in a video yet. I'm an instructor in what they call suicide awareness. So I can teach other people to somehow magically, mystically be aware of the potential of suicide in others. Suicide's a big S, man. It really is. Nobody wants to talk about it, and I get it. But here's the thing. I know these stands. I strap myself to this tree. I come up, I wrap them, I put all kinds, anything you can think of. But I can't see inside that cable. When it comes to human beings, no matter how good we are, or no matter how calculated or trained or educated or how much experience we have, man, it's hard to see inside somebody. And statistically, when you look at it, the percentage of people that commit suicide, and when you interview and research the people close to them, I mean, it's a really high percentage, man. They didn't have a freaking clue. They had no clue. And then it weighs heavy on them. Just like it weighs heavy on me when I climbed up this tree this morning, that I should have seen this. The brain loves to take responsibility for things that it cannot control or it cannot see. And we've talked about it in other videos. The three things, and this is not my junk, this is stuff I've learned from the experts. The brain wants to complete, simplify, and categorize. The shoulda, coulda, woulda. Taking responsibility for something that's not yours. I should have known that person was going to do that. I should have known that's the state they were in. All these shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And the reality is that we don't know. You know, I had no idea looking inside those cables because I couldn't see it. So when it happens, and it does happen, we all know people. It happens. And it's like, dang it, I should have known that. I should have seen that coming. And we don't have x-ray vision into our souls, other people's souls. We just don't. You know, all we can do is offer assistance, offer help, be supportive. And ultimately, we just can't see some things coming. That's the video. I've thought about this video for a long time. I just could not figure out how to tie it together, you know, so you could see the connection, right? And I'm gonna show you these cables and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. And then I'm gonna buzz you around real quick, and then I gotta get back to it. So the pond's up there. Kind of see it. And I'll probably put a clip in that big old fox squirrel. This is kind of our hardwoods on the farm. We don't have a lot of hardwoods. Everything else is mostly pines. I brought an extra coat today because yesterday I froze. I underestimated and underdressed for the occasion. Got a creek down there, which I opened up the pipe yesterday from the dadgum stinking beaver. So we actually got a good flow of water. So let's get down to these cables. So what I would always inspect is down here at these ends. Okay, these are the new cables. They're clear, so they're not black, so you couldn't see in them. And I was always inspect where they attach right here. Make sure all this looked good. And that's where the failure was. It broke right in the center. And then the other cable on this side couldn't hold the weight, and it broke. But now we can look in there. I mean, we can look. We can see. And then we got our sticks coming up. And then we're locked on here. And then this is hooked to a big old harness around my body. So who am I today? Man, plain and simple. I'm hoping that this video really works for at least one of you. We've all been there and done that. We all got the t-shirt. We've all had that phone call or got that message and thought that somehow we could see inside the cable, right? Maybe we call the video the cable of life. We can't see inside everything. We just can't. You know? And sometimes if you pry too much, you push people away. But I'll tell you one thing. And when I used to teach this all the time. If somebody comes inside your head and you think about them, reach out. Text them, call them, don't care. Don't matter. I'm just telling you. I think there's something to that voodoo magic right there. ESP, whatever you want to call it. But if somebody comes to your mind, reach out to them. But remember, we don't have x-ray vision. We don't. I mean, I wish we did. I couldn't see inside the cable, and for a high percentage, we can't see inside somebody's soul, what's inside their head, what's weighing them so heavy. You know, it doesn't matter how good you are or how much training you have. You know, we just ain't got that kind of juice. So cut yourself some slack. So, y'all have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the deer, because that was some cool junk. And I ain't got much longer. I got to get down. I got junk to do today. Y'all take care.